Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video. I'm once again in Valheim, and this time around I am in the plains, as you can see. And I'm going to show you how to build a unraidable base. I'm going to use that structure right there. That is a indestructible structure. You find these all throughout the plains. Now, my suggestion before we even start building is find where Yugolith, the boss, resides. Obviously, the map is procedurally generated, and then make your way towards that direction. Obviously, Yugolith is still far from me. However, he is on this landmass that I'm about to start building. So the very first thing that we will need to do is obviously place down a workbench. Now I'm going to build up this building, this structure right there. So I'm going to put the workbench somewhere around here, somewhere out of the way, basically. And we're going to build all the way to the top. We're going to go with some staircases which we can attach to this structure. Now, of course, I'm going to be in creative mode to build this, just to make things quicker. Otherwise, this would be a video that would take a lot of time, which I currently don't have. So I know that might upset some people, but it is what it is. So we're going to start with the staircase right here, and I think that's high enough. Now, of course, we will enclose this area later on. You can build a outer wall, you can build a moat-like structure if you want, but the idea is to build at the top. Of course, what's nice about this area right here, if I do want to have like a little garden where I can have all sorts of crops relatively native to this area, to this biome, I can do that as well. We do want to have the staircase as flush as possible to the structure. So do remember, whilst the pillar that we're going to build up is slightly inclined, it is still a bit of a square. So of course now we're going to need to put down a floor, and to that floor I'm going to attach some more staircases, basically going into that wall right there, into that structure, because that will act as the structural support basically for the building that we will build, basically. So it can be a bit fiddly at times. That's fine, we just move a bit forward like so, and then we do this. There we go. Now we're gonna have to basically try and connect another structure so that it is basically linked to the, I want to call this a pillar. I'm going to call it a pillar for lack of better words. We want to link it somehow, so that will give it the structural support that it needs. Now, ideally, I'm going to go with 2 staircases wide, just so I don't end up falling off the edge. Now, as you can see, this is red right here. So that does, of course, mean that it doesn't really have that much support. So I'm just trying to be careful here as to how I place it, so I can then come around this way and then snap it onto this end. I do want it to be also following a certain pattern. Notice that that has changed. So basically that last floor piece that I placed down has now got a link to, or is attached to the pillar itself, and so therefore it counts as structural support. So I'm going to come down with some staircases like so. Make sure we link it into the wall properly. There we go, perfect. I don't think I can get that one. If I can, that would be great. Maybe, just maybe, if I come a bit further down, maybe that might help my case. I mean, I'm not going to fall through that hole, but it's just one of my little obsessions there. I do want it to be perfect. And then basically we just do the exact same thing all the way around until we get to a height that I'm happy with in terms of the building. Notice that the building is going to incline towards me, so that means I'm going to run out of staircase, and that's why I want to go with 2 staircases wide. Okay, so I have built high enough. I think I'm happy with the site. So now I am going to basically build out what would be the first floor. I have not reached the top, and I am fairly close to the top. So basically the idea here is I want to build several levels. Once you reach the top, what happens is there is no more structural support, or no more structure where you can have your building being supported by. So I do want to add a couple of levels. Obviously we'll have to have the crafting stations and stuff like that. So this can be the first floor. Now of course This is just a design idea. It's not something that's going to, you don't have to copy the exact same thing, but you can get inspiration from this if you want. Now, personally, you can build just at the top, but then you're kind of limited by how big you can build due to the lack of structural support. And this pillar being indestructible and also acting as a support similar to the ground, that is what I want. So I also want to go crazy with the design. I do want to try and make it a bit unique and custom to me. Okay, so we've got a red there. That means we need to support that. How does that change? Yeah, I think that's the maximum width that I'll go at. But that should be enough for me to add all the other bits and pieces that I need for this building. And basically, we're just going to rinse and repeat this all throughout the floors. Now, of course, this floor will be slightly taller than the others because, of course, we'll have to include the forges. We'll have to include the smelters and the kiln and stuff like that. And to do that, if you've watched my previous video, we'll need to place down some stone foundations, which of course will act as the ground, and so therefore it will allow us to place stuff such as campfires, forges, smelters, and so on. Alright, so here we are. We've got the staircase. Now, obviously, I do want to have some design to it, so we're going to go with the small vertical pillar. Now, the reason I'm going with these pillars is because I'm going to set up something similar to a rail. That's basically so I don't fall off, because sometimes I'm a bit... well, sometimes I don't pay attention to my environment, so we want to snap it to the corners of each of the foundation. That's why I destroyed that one before there. And we're going with one because then we can attach the vertical and the inclined pillar, beams, whatever you want to call them, which will act as a rail. Now, you can go further down if you want, but I think this is perfect in terms of the distance I want to go with this. And so we can go with this on the outer edge if you want to do that. That's fine. But the idea is to add these like that. So that acts like a little railing system, so that I don't end up falling off the edge if I am in a rush, or if the game decides to bug out or freeze and then I end up walking off the edge. Obviously, from this height, you will end up dying if you do fall. So maybe if we have something like this, it should help us not die stupidly and foolishly. Alternatively, if you want, of course, you can go all the way up. And notice that I did add some inclined pillars, beams, whatever you want to call them. Now that is for additional structural support, and I think by adding these type of beams going all the way up in this section, I do think it adds to the overall shape and design of the structure. So that's another thing I'm keeping in mind. We want to snap this right here somehow. This is going to be a bit tricky. There we go. I just think it looks pretty neat, especially when you come down the stairs or walk up these stairs. I think it just adds to the look and feel of it. Like that. There we go. And we just continue with this all the way down this way. And that's the idea of this. Okay, so I'm now creating what would be the first enclosure. Notice that I did go about 4 tall here. And so that is, of course, because... as I said, this will be the structure that, or this floor will have the crafting stations. At least that's my intention anyways. We'll see how we manage to build out. Obviously, we are limited by space and how far we can go out due to the fact that we're building up this stone pillar thing. I could go like that, but I don't like it. So we're going to go like that because it looks better to me. I'm going to close that, and when we do, it should add some more structural support. Notice that I did put the inclined beams for the floor above. It does slightly increase the range on how far off we can build from the main pillar that offers us the structure, but it also looks nice. It looks like it fits. Now, I did have to move the workbench because it was right at the end, and of course this will be the entrance here, so we'll move the bench here. Once we set it down, it should be its final resting place, And so this is what it's going to look like. I might have some balconies coming out and stuff like that. That remains to be seen. Again, dependent on the structural support that we have. Okay, so now I'm nearly finished with the floor above. Again, we're placing some more of these beams right here. They don't really bother us, and they do look like they are supporting the structure above us, although that's not necessarily the case. And not in all places, at least. This one's a bit derpy right here, and I do want it to snap, which is kind of difficult. I'm not being very lucky with it, but you get the idea. There we go. That looks better. So I'm going to do this all the way around. I'm going to try and keep a nice pattern, if that makes sense, where at least possible. And I am trying to snap them onto the corners. Okay, that's well, I think that's probably what we're gonna have to do. I'm not quite happy. I would have liked it to be more of a round type of design, but I guess it'll have to do. Can we snap it onto that? This is where it gets a bit derpy. But with a bit of patience, we will get there. Of course, I am kind of cutting quite a bit. So if you guys like to see the sped up versions of the build, then I can definitely add that in future builds. Or if you like it choppy like this, that's fine. I mean, you guys get the idea of what I'm doing here. Trying to snap it. I feel like I need another one over here. Might just leave it like that, though. Or I might just add it later on if I feel like I need it. Let's try and snap that one into... I mean, it's already acting like support, but I don't like that gap. So that kind of... that'll mess with my OCD. Alright, we'll do this. There we go. I think it's fine. It's not perfect, but it's fine. It'll do. I'm happy with it. And we'll put another one here like so. Like that. That looks better. So here I am with the roof, or what is going to be the roof. Now this is where things get interesting, because I am slightly running out of support in the sense of that the structure doesn't, as you can see right there, we're on orange, which isn't really good for us, because obviously we have a lot of roof to put up. So I will have to play around with this section of the build. Always the most interesting part, because of the lack of support. So we'll see what we can do here. Hopefully I don't run into too many problems, but I do want like a little sort of enclosed covered balcony here. This will be the main quarters, so this will be where I probably set down the bed and stuff like that, make it like a little living quarters. We'll do that right there. And you can see there's red, so that's not necessarily a good thing. Now, one thing that plays to my advantage is I still have the tip of the pillar that we built up, so maybe I can use that in the center of this build to give this roof some sort of support. It's not snapping. There we go. Yeah, so this will be the main living floor, and I intend to use that little tip of the building of the pillar as some form of support. We'll see how that works out. There we go, like so. Now this is the finished product. I did add a little bit of a hill with the use of a hoe, and a moat as well with the use of a pick. So that means that my base has become unraidable. Now I can leave it like this if I want to, or I can go crazy and add some buildings to it. But that just means that the NPCs cannot get into my encampment, and I can set down a bit of a farm where we can harvest all sorts of crops. We can have like a little pit with creatures. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like from different angles. But there is, as you can see, a moat-like structures. Now, the reason for that and why it's so effective is that the NPCs don't really want to go, or the AI for the NPCs doesn't really want to let them go off edges and cliffs. So that means they can't get close to the wall. Now, the wall, of course, is indestructible because it's made out of the ground by raising the ground with the use of a hoe. So, again, very useful and helpful there. Of course, we have a death mosquito wanting to pester us. which I'm going to ignore because that's not what I want to focus on. But this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's pretty big, and I'll show you on the inside how big this building actually is, and it has so much more potential. I could go with a couple of levels further down if I choose to, but I think space-wise that is sufficient for what I need. So how do you get in? Well, if you sprint and jump, you can basically climb up almost vertical buildings or structures. And obviously coming down can be sometimes a pain, but here we go. These are the stairs that you saw at the beginning of the video. We're going to go further up. I've already put down some ornamental stuff. I didn't completely finish it, but this will give you the idea. So this is what it looks like when we come up. Now, of course, this is the main entrance. Some of the building pieces, as you see right there, these are damaged from the weather. Of course, if you don't have a roof over a wooden structure, that will obviously in time damage the building, especially the wooden pieces. So we have here a wheel. We have all the crafting stations that we need. So the forge, the workbench. We have over here, as I said, the stone flooring, and we have basically a cooking station there. So I'm going to show you because it's coming kind of some stuff that is quite interesting. Now, of course, over here we have a barrel. We have the kiln. And another wheel there. I just put it there for the fact that there was an empty space that didn't really help with anything, so I just wanted to cover it up. Now, with this right here, what I did have to remove for the pieces right there, basically, of the ceiling, and then placed it down, and then once I placed it down, I then put those pieces back there. You saw the chimney right there, so it basically funnels the smoke outside instead of straight upwards. It basically goes at an angle, but it does work. It is efficient. And then we go up these steps right here. And it's easy to kind of miss this because you can go up that way, but there's another, so right there it's easy to miss that because you'll tend to go that way, which is sometimes what happens with me. But over here we have another floor. This can be like a floor where we store stuff. We have a gateway right here. We have a balcony going on as well, so we can look outside when the weather is nice. I mean, I can't really see anything from the third person, and I just realized this window is not finished, but hey ho. But we can still get a bit of a view. So this is where I was placing some of these supporting structures. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of height. So this is where the blast furnace is, and those 4 floor tiles I had to remove in order to place down the blast furnace. Over here we have another angled chimney. So basically it goes like that. Oh, I'm taking damage from something. We've got some storage right here. So I can light this fire, the smoke will go up and then at an angle and then back out. I'll show you the chimney from outside. But yeah, that's how it works. I've tested it, it works just fine. Of course, we have the braziers right there. And here's some storage area as well, where we can store some stone and wood and stuff like that. I'm just trying to make use of it, but I much rather prefer storing them in a chest. But I do think it looks nice, so I just kind of left it as that. Now, of course, I did not take into consideration maximizing the rested buff from the structure. I just designed it for visuals more than anything. So coming up to the next floor, this is right here, an empty floor right there, and we have like a little balcony. So we can come out here and just look out onto the world that we have become a master of, if I ever decide. Now, of course, this little balcony will take damage from the elements, which is a bit annoying, but I guess it is what it is. And so we have like another little storage area. So here maybe I can fill this up with chests and have loads of things that I can store here if I wish to, or I could have another room down here. Really, the sky is the limit. And over here we have another little balcony. Now, I did want to try and enclose this, but there's no structural support for it, so this is what I went with again. So this will be slightly grayed out, which is going to be annoying, and that's because of the lack of roofing. Now, of course, what's nice is that the weather will do some damage to, or the rain will do some damage to the wooden structures, but it won't completely destroy them. And here is the roof that I set up. So, of course, as you can see, we've got walls going around. That just adds some structural support. And as you see right here, I built a chimney and a fireplace that goes straight up. I did have to go with these walls from the stone right there to offer that center structural support right there, which is what I thought would happen. We got some chests, a bed, a chair, all the comforts of home. So I think it looks pretty cool. This is just the basic design. I might change it out in time. We've got this right here. Now this is what I like, because you can come out this way, which is pretty cool, and just look out, and I totally would have that in a house. So this is what it looks like from the outside. I'm going to show you the chimney section. It's kind of cool. I like it. So this is the chimney for the main fireplace where we have all the cooking stations. Notice that I did put a lot of them, so I can actually fit through that if I want, but it does funnel out the smoke, and it is quite effective in doing that. And over here we have the other chimney, which is the chimney for the campfire and whatever else I decide to put on top of the campfire. But if I do decide, I can actually go through it, which is kind of cool as well. Although I probably wouldn't do that if there's lots of smoke. It would definitely hurt. Same thing over here if I want to do that as well. So yeah, this is it. This is the idea. I mean, it is a pretty good base. It makes it unraidable, won't have any issues. The only thing that can cause some inconvenience would be the flying creatures. That would be the drakes and dragons and stuff like that. But other than that, this is fairly solid. The moat around it pretty much keeps the NPCs at bay. And of course, the raised ground all the way around it is indestructible. So again, we can just basically go on top of the wall and just fire down on our enemies and be safe. This is just a concept and idea. Of course, there are many others that you can do with this, and just a general design. You can do your own build. As you can see, there's loads of inclined beams over there, which look like they are supporting the structure, but they're not really doing that. They're just for design purposes. I just thought if I went with the inclined beams, might as well follow that through. It just looks nicer that way. Of course, that is pretty much it for this video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it, and if you have, please don't forget to support me in the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you get notified when I upload new videos and content to the channel. Also, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to us, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. And of course, until next time, stay safe, folks.